It started as a luxury, a product for the elite, glass bottles, mineral springs, and a promise of purity. But somewhere along the way, a billion-dollar idea was born. Not to hydrate the world, but to sell fear. Fear of taps, fear of contamination, fear that only their bottle could save you. They didn't just bottle water, they bottled trust, they bottled necessity, and sold it back to us, one sip at a time. This is how it began.
Ever turned on your tap expecting clean water, only to get, well, whatever that is? Meanwhile, there are people out there paying 60,000 euros for water in a solid gold bottle. No joke, acqua di cristallo, tributo a Modigliani. It's actually my favorite water, even though I've never tasted it. But hey, it's probably liquid perfection, right? Let me know your favorite water in the comments. I promise I won't judge much. You turn on the tap, expecting a life-sustaining flow of fresh, clean water. Instead, you're met with a trickle of something contaminated and unsafe. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But for millions around the world, this is a harsh reality. And while they're struggling for clean water, some are out here sipping on gold-infused water that costs more than a small house. So, how did we get to this point? How did something as basic as water become a luxury item? Here's the big question. How is it that in the same world, some people can't access clean water, while others spend tens of thousands on liquid in a gold bottle? The other side of this coin is darker than you might imagine. Why would a government give up control over water? Privatizing water can bring in investments, fund infrastructure upgrades, and supposedly improve management and efficiency. Governments, often facing budget problems, see privatization as a quick way to get cash by selling water rights or signing contracts with private companies. Private companies are seen as more efficient, with access to better technology and management. They can modernize old infrastructure without using public funds, and performance-based contracts might improve services. But here's the big question. Is it really better? While the private sector can bring money and expertise, this shift comes with a price. Privatization can mean higher costs, less access, and less accountability. Political beliefs and economic pressures also push governments towards privatization, influenced by market-based policies and international agreements. However, this approach sparks controversy. It raises concerns about fairness, access, and public oversight. Private companies may run things more efficiently, but at what cost? Political ideologies play a big role too. Some believe that reducing government control and bringing in private businesses is the way to go. Privatizing water fits into this idea. But the real issue remains. When private companies control water, who makes sure it's managed fairly for the public? Spoiler alert. There are some serious loopholes that make you wonder who really benefits. Water has become big business. What was once a freely available resource is now packaged and sold as a premium product. This commercialization of water often means that access becomes more about who can pay rather than who needs it. In Bolivia, the Cochabamba water war of 2000 was a stark example of the backlash against water privatization. When a multinational corporation took over water services, the local population faced skyrocketing prices and reduced access. This led to mass protests and ultimately, the government's decision to reverse the privatization. But the question remains, why did it get so bad in the first place? The company promised better infrastructure and efficiency, but instead people were left without water. Was it poor planning, or was there a deeper, more strategic, profit-driven motive at play? This isn't just about Bolivia. It could happen anywhere, and we might be missing something even bigger. In Flint, Michigan, cost-cutting measures led to a catastrophic public health crisis. When officials switched the city's water source to save money, They neglected essential corrosion controls, resulting in lead contamination of the water supply. Residents were left to grapple with unsafe water, health issues, and a government slow to address the crisis. The Flint water crisis serves as a sobering example of how privatization and mismanagement can have dire consequences. South Africa's experience with water privatization has been similarly troubling. High prices and inconsistent service have plagued many communities, particularly in poorer areas. The promise of improved infrastructure often falls short, leaving residents with unreliable access to clean water and higher costs. Water, the resource for life, has been hijacked and making millions. In the shadows of legal water markets, a thriving illegal trade has emerged. Unregulated extraction, illegal sales, and black market dealings. Some companies have exploited the benefits and seek to profit from water privatization and commercialization in illegal or unethical ways, morally that harm both communities and the environment. Take India. There have been numerous reports of companies illegally pumping groundwater without proper authorization. This practice depletes aquifers, leading to reduced water availability for local residents and agricultural needs. Illegally extracted water is often sold on the black market, bypassing regulations and leading to unsafe, untreated water and unfair pricing. In Mexico, criminal networks exploit local water resources, selling unregulated water for profit without regard for quality or safety. Companies may exploit regulatory gaps or unethical practices to cut costs or boost profits. This can involve using outdated environmental assessments to evade stricter regulations. In Mexico, some companies avoid penalties by relying on outdated assessments to continue harmful practices. When a company controls a water supply, it may sharply raise prices, making water unaffordable for many, especially in low-income communities. This creates a significant financial burden. For instance, in South Africa, privatized water services have led to high prices, making it hard for low-income households to afford water and worsening inequality. Companies may resort to bribing officials or manipulating policies to gain favorable terms or avoid regulations, undermining water management systems and contributing to systemic corruption. Reports reveal instances where bribes were used to secure contracts or bypass environmental regulations, resulting in unfair advantages and environmental damage. To save costs, some companies may cut corners on environmental and health standards, resulting in pollution and unsafe water conditions. This neglect poses serious health risks to communities. For example, the Flint water crisis in the USA demonstrated how cost-cutting led to lead contamination in the water supply, causing severe public health issues. The exploitation of water privatization for illegal from unauthorized extraction and black market trading to regulatory manipulation, price gouging, corruption, and environmental violations. These activities not only undermine the principles of equitable access and sustainability, but also have severe repercussions for local communities and ecosystems. But how do these companies get away with it? The answer lies buried deep within outdated regulations. What you're about to discover might make you wonder if anyone's really keeping an eye on the water we drink, or if it's just another dirty business. So, why don't governments act more decisively against these issues? Regulatory and enforcement challenges play a significant role. Many governments' resources and capacity to effectively monitor and address illegal activities. Complex regulations and bureaucratic inefficiencies can delay necessary actions. Governments face multiple challenges in addressing unethical water privatization practices, including limited resources, complex regulations, and political corruption. Understaffed regulatory bodies struggle with outdated laws, while powerful corporations exploit legal loopholes and influence officials. Low public awareness and weak civil society further hinder advocacy efforts, leaving communities without a voice. Bureaucratic inefficiencies and global trade agreements complicate enforcement, limiting governments' ability to act. Addressing these issues requires stronger regulatory frameworks, transparency, and empowered public advocacy. Governments face various challenges in addressing unethical water privatization practices, such as resource constraints, political and economic pressures, low public awareness, bureaucratic inefficiencies, and global influences. Overcoming these issues requires a comprehensive approach, including stronger regulatory frameworks, increased transparency, and empowering civil society to advocate for change. Without public pressure and robust advocacy, governments may lack the motivation to act, leaving communities affected by water exploitation without the resources or platforms to demand change. Addressing these issues requires robust policy changes and regulatory reforms. Governments need to enforce stricter regulations, increase transparency, and hold corporations accountable for their actions. Innovative solutions also play a critical role. Technology can help manage water resources more efficiently and sustainably. Smart water management systems, for instance, can monitor usage and detect leaks, reducing waste and improving access. In many regions, local communities have successfully managed their own water resources through cooperative models and sustainable practices. Imagine a world where water is managed by the community, not for profit. This isn't just an idea, it's happening in different parts of the world. International laws play an important role in shaping how water is managed globally. By understanding these laws, we can better push for change. In Kenya, water user associations, WUAs, show how people can take control of their water supply. These local groups manage everything from maintaining infrastructure to setting fees. This system keeps water affordable and ensures that money is used to maintain the local community, not to make a profit. But can this model grow to replace privatized systems? In India, farmers manage irrigation through participatory irrigation management, PIM, which gives them control over their water use, making it more efficient and fair. In Bolivia, rainwater harvesting is helping communities in dry areas. They collect and store rainwater, giving them a steady supply even during droughts. The challenge is, can this approach be scaled to solve global water shortages? In Brazil, Porto Alegre uses a participatory budgeting system, where residents decide how water funds are spent. This makes sure local needs are met, improves water quality, and increases transparency. These examples show that we don't need to rely on privatization for effective water management. Community-led projects are often more sustainable, fair, and adaptable to local needs. By learning from these models, we can work towards a future where water is accessible to everyone, without the issues caused by profit-driven management. From the exploitation and corruption in water commercialization to the hopeful examples of successful alternatives, the issue of water privatization is complex and multifaceted. The need for reform is clear, and it is up to us to advocate for change. To make a difference, stay informed, support ethical practices, and get involved in advocacy efforts. Together, we can work towards ensuring that water remains a right for all.